Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe and leave a like. It means everything to us. Please share this video with someone you care about and switch on post notifications so you won't miss any future videos. Thank you for always supporting. Now, relax and let's begin. Rita Okafor always noticed how people smiled at them in public like their marriage was a movie. Harry Cole would hold her waist with confidence, kiss her forehead with a loud "My Queen," and laugh with strangers as if he had nothing to hide. At family events, he'd raise his glass and say, "To my beautiful wife, she's the reason I'm a better man." Everyone clapped. Rita clapped too, softly, because she wanted to believe it. She wanted the applause to be proof that love was real, not performance. But at home, love was quieter and sometimes colder. Rita would be washing plates while Harry scrolled his phone, barely looking up. "You're quiet today," he'd say, not concerned, just observant. Rita would reply, "I'm tired." He'd shrug. When she leaned in for affection, he sometimes gave it like a favor. Yet, Rita still tried. She cooked his favorites, pressed his shirts, prayed over their bed. In her heart, she whispered, "If I love enough, the coldness will melt." She didn't know he was learning how to clap for himself. Before Rita became Mrs. Cole, she was Rita Okafor, the daughter her father raised with stubborn wisdom. He didn't shout lessons. He planted them like seeds. "Some things stay in Okafor," he once said while signing documents, his pen moving slowly like he was writing protection into paper. Rita rolled her eyes then. "Daddy, I'm getting married. Harry is my husband." Her father looked at her for a long time. "Marriage is love, my dear. But life is also law. Keep your identity. Keep your door." After her father's death, that memory became heavier than grief. Rita would sit on her bed, holding old folders, tracing the embossed stamp on her father's lawyer's letterhead. Harry often called it "your daddy's paranoia," but Rita knew it wasn't paranoia, it was foresight. She had kept a few assets, a few records, a few keys under Okafor, not out of pride, but out of obedience. She never bragged about it. It was quiet insurance she didn't expect to need. Yet sometimes at night, she'd whisper, "Daddy, you were protecting me, weren't you?" It happened at a friend's engagement party. Rita wore a simple dress, her hair neatly packed, her smile polite. Someone from her old neighborhood squealed, "Ah, Mrs. Okafor." Rita's face brightened for a second until she heard Harry laugh, sharp and too loud. "Mrs. Okafor," he repeated, shaking his head like it was a joke. No, she's Mrs. Cole now. Let's not confuse things." People chuckled. Rita's smile froze, not because of the correction, but because of the tone, like her former name was dirt. In the car, Harry's sweetness disappeared. "Why didn't you correct her yourself?" he asked. Rita blinked. It was harmless. She just... Harry cut in. Harmless becomes habit. "You're Cole now. Act like it." Rita's throat tightened. "Harry is still my name too." He stared at her, eyes flat. "Don't start. I'm trying to keep our image clean." Rita turned to the window, watching streetlights pass like silent witnesses. That night, she folded her pain into quietness and told herself, maybe he's just proud. Harry began with soft words. "Babe, we should harmonize everything," he said one morning, buttering bread like a loving man. "Bank, property, your business registration, let everything match. It's easier." Rita nodded slowly. "I'll think about it." Harry smiled, but his eyes didn't smile. "It's not something to think about. We're married. Why would anything be separate?" Rita tried to laugh. "Because my father." Harry dropped the knife lightly on the plate. "Your father again." Over the next weeks, he brought it up like a daily devotion. "Have you started the name change? Did you visit the registry? I can call someone to help." Rita started feeling like she was being escorted towards something she didn't want. One night, she asked gently, "Why is it so urgent?" Harry's voice stayed calm, but his fingers tapped the table. "Because I'm your husband. I want everything under one roof," Rita whispered. "But I am still me." Harry leaned closer and said quietly, "You'll be fine, just don't complicate it." Rita first saw Barbara Wills at a small business dinner. Barbara wore confidence like perfume, strong, expensive, impossible to ignore. She introduced herself with a bright smile. "Oh, you must be Rita. Harry talks about you," she said, dragging the sentence like a tease. Rita replied politely, "Nice to meet you." But Barbara's eyes didn't stay on Rita. They slid to Harry, lingered, and returned with a smirk. Harry's laughter was too quick, too pleased. "Barbara is a client's cousin," he explained, though nobody asked. Later in the car, Rita said softly, "She seems bold." Harry chuckled. "You women always overthink. She's just lively." Rita turned her face away. She didn't want to be the jealous wife. Yet something inside her felt scratched. At home, she noticed Harry's phone lighting up late. He'd tilt the screen away. "Work," he'd say. Rita would nod and swallow her questions because she still believed in the version of them people clapped for. But Barbara had entered their story like a careless match near dry grass. Rita went to her storage box looking for her father's documents, the ones Glenn Ibekwe kept copies of, but she liked having her own. The file was usually in a brown envelope labeled Okafor Assets. She searched once, twice, then carefully emptied the box. Her palms began to sweat. The envelope was gone. She walked into the living room and found Harry lounging. "Have you seen my brown envelope, the one from my father?" Harry didn't even sit up. "Maybe you misplaced it." Rita's voice became small. "I don't misplace that one." Harry shrugged, eyes still on his phone. "You're stressed. Since your dad died, you've been forgetful." The word forgetful sat on her skin like an insult disguised as concern. Rita went back, searched again, and found nothing. That night, she opened a notebook and wrote, "File missing, date, time." Harry's response. She didn't know she was beginning a trail that would later save her life, but she felt something shift trust, turning into vigilance. Her father's burial broke Rita in a quiet way. She stopped laughing easily. She moved slowly, like her body was carrying a stone. Harry played the perfect husband outside, holding her elbow, greeting mourners, saying, "She was like a father to me too." People praised him. "Harry is a good man," they said. Rita wanted to believe them because grief makes you cling to any comfort available. At night, she lay awake, hearing her father's voice in her memory, "Keep your door." But inside their home, Harry's patience wore thin. "How long will you mourn?" he asked one evening, annoyed by her silence. Rita's eyes filled. "It's my father," Harry sighed dramatically. "I know, but life continues. You're becoming heavy." The word stung, heavy, like her pain was an inconvenience. Rita whispered, "I just need time." Harry stood up and said, "Then don't forget your responsibilities. And remember, we still need to harmonize documents." Grief made her softer, and he pressed into that softness like it was weakness. It started as care. Harry insisted on dropping her at work. "Lagos is not safe," he'd say. Then he began calling midday. "Where are you?" Then he asked for her passwords, just in case. Rita tried to resist politely. "Harry, I'm not hiding anything," he smiled. "Exactly, so give it." When she hesitated, he pouted like she had betrayed him. "You don't trust me?" Rita felt guilty and handed over what she shouldn't have. Soon, her world shrank. He questioned her friendships, her roots, her spending. "Why did you buy data? Who are you chatting?" Rita would explain, and he'd nod like a judge. Sometimes he'd take her phone, scroll through messages, and return it casually. "Good," he'd say. Rita started feeling watched even when she was alone. Tracy noticed first. "Rita, you're not yourself," she said. Rita forced a smile. "Marriage is compromise." Tracy replied, eyes sharp. "No, this one is captivity wearing romance." Rita laughed weakly, but her chest tightened because deep down she knew the night Rita finally broke, it wasn't loud. She called Tracy and spoke in a whisper. "Tracy, he wants to erase Okafor." Tracy went quiet. "What do you mean?" Rita swallowed. "He keeps pushing name change. He's angry when anyone calls me Okafor. My father's file disappeared, and there's a woman, Barbara." Tracy's voice sharpened. "Have you checked your records, your bank, your registry?" Rita's breath shook. "I'm scared of what I'll find." Tracy didn't comfort her with empty words. She gave instructions like a sister in war. "Listen to me. Scan every document you can find. Send them to me. Email them to a new account he doesn't know. Take screenshots of any strange message. And stop telling him your plans." Rita whispered. "But he's my husband," Tracy replied. "And you're still Rita Okafor before anything else. Don't let love make you blind." When Rita ended the call, she sat on the floor and cried silently because it hurt to realize her marriage might be something she needed to survive. Rita went to the registry like someone visiting a hospital, fearful, careful, hoping for good news but expecting pain. She wore a cap and plain clothes, trying not to look like herself. At the counter, she requested a simple check on a filing under her name. The clerk flipped through records and said casually, "There's a pending name, harmonization request, Mrs. Cole." Rita's stomach dropped. "Pending?" she repeated. "I didn't file anything." The clerk shrugged. "It's in process. Someone submitted supporting documents already." Rita forced calm. "Can I see the documents?" The clerk hesitated, then said, "You need authorization." Rita's voice went soft, dangerous. "Who submitted it?" The clerk glanced around and lowered his voice. "I can't say, but it came with a letter and it looked prepared." Rita walked out with her legs trembling. Outside, her phone rang Harry. "Where are you?" he asked sweetly. Rita swallowed and lied for the first time in her marriage. "I'm at the market." Harry laughed. "Buy pepper. I'm craving stew." Rita stared at the sky and whispered, "He's ahead of me." The next week, Harry turned into the husband everyone praised. He brought flowers. He booked dinner. He held Rita's hand in public like a man in love. "My wife, my pride," he said loudly, and people smiled. Rita smiled too, but it felt like her face belonged to someone else. At dinner, he said softly, "I've been thinking, maybe I've been too harsh. I just want us aligned." Rita nodded slowly. "Aligned is good." Harry reached across the table. "Then, do the name change. Let's end this stress." At home, he surprised her with a gift, an expensive watch. Rita's heart sank, not because she didn't like gifts, but because she felt bought. "Harry, why now?" she asked. He kissed her cheek. "Because I love you." Then he added, still smiling, "And I want peace. Don't make me fight my own wife." Rita looked into his eyes and saw something that wasn't love, something that calculated. That night, she told Tracy. "He's being sweet." Tracy replied, "That's not sweetness. That's a net." Rita hugged her pillow and wondered when love became a trap. It happened on a bright morning. Rita entered her car, started the engine, and drove toward work. The road was busy. She was thinking about nothing, just breathing. Then she pressed the brakes at a junction and the pedal sank too easily. The car didn't slow. Her heart slammed. She swerved, narrowly avoiding a bus, and hit the curb. People shouted. Someone ran to her window. "Madam, are you okay?" Rita's hands shook violently. Her throat tasted like metal. Harry arrived like a hero. He rushed to her, held her face, shouted, "My wife, thank God." He called mechanics, called family. posted online. The devil tried, but God saved my queen. People prayed in the comments. Rita watched him perform concern with perfect timing. In the hospital waiting room, she heard him on the phone, voice low. Yes, fix it. No evidence. When he turned and met her eyes, he smiled quickly. Babe, don't worry. I'll handle everything. Rita's blood ran cold. She realized accidents can be arranged and love can be rehearsed. Barbara became bolder after the accident, as if danger gave her courage. She started calling Harry late at night. Rita would hear the phone buzzing, see Harry step out, and return smiling. One evening, Barbara showed up at their gates with a care package. She wore tight clothes and confidence. I heard about the accident, she said, voice sweet. I just wanted to check on my friend. Rita opened the door fully and replied politely, Thank you. I'm fine. Barbara's eyes scanned the living room like she was measuring space. After Barbara left, Rita turned to Harry. Why does she feel comfortable coming here? Harry frowned. You're imagining things. She's just kind. Rita's voice trembled. Kind. People don't look at someone's home like they're planning to live there. Harry's face hardened. Rita, stop being insecure. You're embarrassing. The word embarrassing slapped her. Rita swallowed her tears and nodded because she was learning that every time she spoke truth, Harry punished her with shame. Barbara sensed it too, and her smirk grew sharper each time. Glenn Ibekwe's office smelled like old paper and patience. Rita sat across from him, her hands folded tightly. Glenn listened without interrupting, only nodding as she spoke about the missing file, the registry hint, the accident. When she finished, he opened a drawer and pulled out a thick file labeled Okafor Protective Structure. Your father anticipated this, Glenn said softly. Rita's eyes filled. He did? Glenn tapped the papers. Yes, he insisted key assets remain under your maiden name, Rita Okafor. Transfers require your physical presence and verification. Rita's breath caught, so Harry can't just change everything. Glenn shook his head. Not legally, if the system is followed. He leaned closer. But people who want to steal don't always respect systems. That's why your father warned you, Rita whispered. Harry is my husband. Glenn replied, and the law doesn't care about romance when fraud is involved. He slid a small notebook toward her. Document everything, dates, conversations, and don't confront him again without a plan. Rita left the office holding grief and relief. At the same time, grief that her father was right, relief that her father's wisdom still had a pause. Rita's body betrayed her first. She took her usual medication and felt dizzy within minutes, like the room was tilting. Her tongue felt heavy. Her thoughts moved slow, sticky. She tried to stand and nearly fell. Harry rushed in with a dramatic gasp. Jesus! Rita! He guided her back to bed, his hands firm, almost too practiced. You need rest, he said. You've been stressed. Rita's voice came out weak. The medicine tastes different. Harry frowned. Don't accuse. You're sick. Later, when she was clearer, Rita checked the bottle. The label was similar, but the tablets looked slightly different. Her stomach tightened. She called the pharmacy quietly. The pharmacist said, confused, Madame, that's not the brand we dispensed. Rita's hands trembled as she ended the call. That night, Harry sat at the edge of the bed and said softly, maybe you should stop working for a while. You're not well. Rita stared at him, fear blooming. In his voice, concern sounded like controlled tightening. She realized someone was trying to make her look unstable so her voice would stop being believed. Rita met Glenn again, this time with her eyes sharper. He's not just pushing papers, she whispered. He's pushing my body. Glenn's face hardened. Then we must assume intent. Rita's voice shook. If I confront him, I may not survive. Glenn nodded slowly. Exactly. If you fight openly, you become easy to destroy. But if you vanish, you become evidence. Rita stared at him. Disappear. Glenn replied. Temporarily, controlled, legal, safe. The word safe felt like water to a thirsty soul. Rita's chest hurt. My mother will die from grief. Glenn's voice softened. It's the hardest part, but it may be the only way to catch him without losing you. Rita looked down at her hands, remembering her father's stubborn warning. She whispered, I never thought I'd need this kind of plan in my own marriage. Glenn slid a small phone toward her. New line, new email, no trace, and only Tracy will know. Rita swallowed hard and nodded. The decision was quiet, but it split her life into before and after. Love stopped being a feeling and became a risk assessment. When Rita told Tracy the plan, Tracy cried immediately. You mean you will let them bury you? Rita's eyes were wet too. Not my body, just my identity. Just the version of me Harry owns. Tracy slammed her palm on the table. This is wickedness, Rita whispered. It's survival. Tracy wiped her face roughly. Okay, tell me what to do. Rita reached for her hand. Promise me you won't panic. Promise me you'll act normal. Tracy sniffed. I'll do it. But, Rita, this will hurt. They planned details like two women folding pain into strategy. Rita transferred copies of documents, voice notes, screenshots. Tracy stored them in multiple places. Email, flash drive, cloud. Rita wrote a short letter to her mother, but didn't send it because anything could expose the plan. Tracy rehearsed her face in the mirror. Grief without truth, tears without confession. I hate this, Tracy whispered. Rita replied, voice breaking, I hate it too, but I want to leave. That night, Rita hugged Tracy longer than usual because it felt like hugging the last piece of the world that still knew her real name. Harry insisted they attend church for special prayers. Rita sat quietly while women surrounded her, laying hands, speaking loudly about healing. Rosemary Adeyemi, the pastor's wife, watched from the side, her eyes calm and observant. Harry stood beside Rita like a saint, raising his hands and saying, God, protect my wife. Rita's heart squeezed at how convincing he looked. After service, Harry guided Rita outside, claiming he needed fresh air for her. Rosemary followed at a distance, not suspicious, just attentive. Outside, Rita pretended to adjust her shoe and stayed back. She heard Harry's voice drop low as Barbara approached him by the corner. It's taking too long, Barbara hissed. You said everything would switch. Harry replied sharply. Keep your voice down. After it moved to cold, we're free. Barbara scoffed. Then make it happen. Rita's stomach twisted. Rosemary's eyes widened slightly. She heard it too. Their eyes met briefly, and Rosemary looked away like a woman who just swallowed a dangerous truth. Rita felt her knees weaken, but she kept her face calm. That moment became a silent agreement. Someone else had heard what she heard. The third incident was small enough to be called nothing, but heavy enough to be called message. Rita entered the bathroom and stepped on water she didn't spill. Her foot slid. Her body lurched forward. She grabbed the sink in time, breathing hard, heart racing. She stared at the floor water pooled, near the edge, like it had been poured deliberately. Rita's hands shook as she cleaned it slowly. When she left the bathroom, Harry was in the hallway. He looked at her wet slippers and said too casually, Careful. Rita's throat tightened. Did you spill water? Harry raised his brows. Why would I? Rita forced a weak laugh. Just asking. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You're always asking lately. That night, Rita lay in bed and listened to Harry's breathing. She wondered if he was sleeping or pretending. Her fear became clarity. She wasn't paranoid. She was targeted. Someone was editing her out step by step, so the world would accept her disappearance as unfortunate. Rita remembered Glenn's words. If you vanish, you become evidence. She whispered into the dark, then I will vanish. Rita left without drama. She packed a small bag before dawn, 2 dresses, her new phone, documents sealed in plastic, and a small photo of her father. Tracy picked her up in silence. They drove through quiet streets while Lagos yawned awake. Rita stared at familiar roads like she was saying goodbye without words. At a safe location arranged by Glenn, Rita stepped out, hugged Tracy and whispered, "Tell nobody, not even your mother." Tracy nodded, tears rolling. "Come back alive, Rita," Rita replied, voice shaking. "I will come back as Okafor." Harry reported Rita missing with loud panic. He called family, posted online, even cried in front of cameras. "My wife is gone," he shouted. People sympathized. Barbara arrived to support, wearing black even before anyone confirmed anything. She held Harry's arm too tightly. "We'll find her," she said, eyes bright in a way grief should never be. When Rita heard about it from Tracy's brief updates, she felt a pain deeper than betrayal because the world was comforting the man who threatened her. Still, she stayed hidden, breathing through loneliness, trusting that truth grows even in silence. A week later, Harry announced Rita was dead. He claimed she was found too late, that the family needed privacy, that details were too painful. Rita's mother screamed when she heard. The sound shook the house like thunder. "No, my daughter," she cried, collapsing to the floor. Relatives held her down as she tried to stand, her grief turning wild. Tracy came crying publicly, acting the part that broke her inside. "Auntie, please," Tracy sobbed. "Please, breathe." Rita's mother held Tracy's face and begged, "Where is her body? Let me see my child." Harry controlled everything. He insisted on a quick burial, private arrangements, no viewing. "Respect her dignity," he said, looking like a grieving husband. But his eyes kept scanning for obstacles, not comfort. Barbara stood near him, whispering, "Be strong," like she had already stepped into Rita's shadow. Rita, hidden far away, listened to Tracy's voice notes later and shook with silent tears. The hardest part wasn't hiding from Harry. It was hearing her mother mourn a living child. Rita pressed her palm to her mouth and whispered, "Mama, forgive me. I'm coming back with proof." The funeral was a performance Harry had rehearsed. He wore black like a costume, moved slowly like a man carrying sorrow. He cried loudly enough for the crowd to hear, collapsing at the dramatic moments when the choir sang, when the pastor spoke of a virtuous wife, when people shouted, "Sorry." Harry held Rita's framed photo and shook, shouting, "Why her, God? Take me instead." People wept with him. Some women whispered, "This man loved his wife." Rita's mother looked like a woman already buried too. Barbara stood close, too close like a wife in waiting. She wiped Harry's tears with a handkerchief, leaned in to whisper comfort, and didn't hide her satisfaction. Rosemary Adeyemi watched from the side, her face calm, but her eyes troubled. She remembered the church corner, the whispered, "We're free." When Harry hugged the pastor after the final prayers, Rosemary noticed something chilling his relief. It was brief, like a shadow passing over his face, but it was there. That night, as mourners left, Harry said quietly to Barbara, thinking nobody heard, "Now we can start." Rosemary heard. She went home and couldn't sleep. Grief had become evidence in her mind. Perry Nadi worked at the registry like a man married to details. He didn't gossip much. He read dates, compared signatures, checked stamps. A few days after the funeral, he saw files moving fast, requests to update names, transfer ownership, harmonize records. Rita's married name appeared repeatedly, Rita Cole, but Perry remembered earlier filings, Rita Okafor. The change looked too clean, too sudden, like someone scrubbing identity with a sponge. He frowned, flipping pages. The signatures didn't match. The witnesses listed were unfamiliar. The dates were oddly aligned with her death. Later, Harry arrived, smiling like a man buying tomorrow. "My wife is gone," he said sadly. but life must continue. I need to finalize what she left. Perry nodded politely, but his mind was alert. He asked gently, "Do you have the biometric verification?" Harry's smile paused. "Biometric?" Perry replied, "Yes. For assets linked to her maiden structure, the system needs physical verification." Harry's jaw tightened. "She's dead." Perry kept his voice calm. "Then the process will pause pending legal confirmation." Harry forced a laugh. "We'll sort it." As he walked away, Perry watched him and felt it. This wasn't grief. This was a man annoyed by a locked door. Glenn didn't rush. He built the case like a wall, brick by brick, no gaps. He collected registry inconsistencies through Perry's careful notes. He compared old documents to new ones, circling mismatched signatures and suspicious dates. He gathered witness statements quietly, not with drama, but with precision. "Tell me exactly what you heard," he asked Rosemary. Rosemary's voice trembled. "He said, once everything switches to coal, we're free." Glenn nodded slowly and wrote it down. "You repeat that under oath." Tracy delivered what she called the emergency folder. It included scanned documents, emails showing Harry's pressure about name change, voice notes where Harry said, "Don't complicate things," and screenshots of Barbara's smug messages. "Soon you won't be Mrs. Anything." Glenn's eyes hardened as he read. "This is intent," he murmured. Then he turned to Rita, who watched from a safe distance through secure communication. "We'll need your presence at the right moment," Glenn said. Rita's voice was quiet. "I'm ready," Glenn replied. "Not yet." A slow burn catches the guilty. Let him keep moving. Every step he takes becomes proof. Rosemary tried to pray it away, but truth doesn't leave when you close your eyes. At night, she heard Harry's voice again. After it moves to coal, we are free. She imagined Rita's mother crying, imagined a woman buried without proof, imagined the community praising a performance. Rosemary felt sick. She told her husband, the pastor, something is wrong. The pastor frowned. "Be careful, Rosemary. These are powerful people." Rosemary snapped. "Power is not holiness." Her husband sighed. "We can't fight everyone." But Rosemary couldn't carry it alone. She went to Glenn with trembling hands. "Barrister," she whispered, "I heard them. I saw how she stood close at the funeral. I saw relief in his eyes." Glenn's tone was gentle. "You're doing the right thing," Rosemary swallowed. "Will they come for me?" Glenn replied, "We'll protect you with process. Your words will not stand alone." Rosemary nodded, tears falling. "I didn't know Rita well," she admitted, "but I know wickedness when it wears church clothes." That night, she slept a little, not because fear left, but because she had chosen a side. Tracy met Glenn with a bag that looked ordinary, but carried a storm inside. "Everything is here," she said, voice shaking. Glenn opened it carefully. Printed emails, screenshots, scanned documents, receipts of name, change filings, and a flash drive labeled Okafor. Tracy's eyes were red. "I had to cry at her funeral," she whispered bitterly. "I had to console her mother while I knew Rita was alive." "Do you know what that does to a person?" Glenn nodded. "It does what survival often does. Hurts the innocent first." When Tracy later called Rita, her voice broke. "Your mother is not eating," she sobbed. "She wakes up shouting your name." Rita's breath shook. "Tell her I'm sorry without telling her," she whispered. Tracy sniffed. "I hate Harry. I hate Barbara. I hate this whole plan." Rita replied, voice tight. "I hate it too. But if I return without proof, I will die. For real. Let the folder speak. Let the law speak." Tracy wiped her tears. "Okay, we'll finish it." That night, Tracy looked at the folder like it was a coffin and a cradle, at once burying lies, birthing truth. Harry returned to the registry, dressed like confidence clean suit, shining shoes, confident smile. He greeted officials, like a man with authority. Let's conclude everything, he said lightly. Perry remained polite but firm. Sir, the maiden structure is active. Biometric verification is mandatory. The system is rejecting proxy authorization. Harry's smile turned stiff. My wife is dead. Perry replied. Then you need a court order and certified proof. The process pauses. Harry's eyes flashed anger, quickly masked by a sigh. You people like stress. Outside, Harry called someone, voice sharp. Fix it! I don't want obstacles. When he got home, he paced. Barbara watched him, arms crossed. So, when do I move in properly? When do I become Mrs. Cole officially? Harry snapped. Do you think it's easy? Barbara rolled her eyes. You promised me. Harry's voice rose. I said I would handle it. Then he lowered his tone, breathing hard. Just be patient. Barbara smirked. I'm tired of patience. I want proof. Harry stared at the wall and felt something he hated. Fear. Not fear of losing Rita. Fear of losing control over what he thought was already stolen. Barbara became relentless. She sent wedding pictures she'd saved on her phone, dropping them in Harry's face like a demand. I didn't sacrifice for nothing, she said. I want the house. I want the name. I want the public respect. Harry's face tightened. Stop talking like that in my house. Barbara laughed. Your house? It will be our house. That's the whole point. Harry slammed his palm on the table. Lower your voice. Barbara leaned in, unafraid. Then finish it. Finalize everything. Harry's patience snapped like thread. Do you know what I went through? He hissed. Do you know what I had to do to make her disappear? Barbara's eyes widened briefly, then glittered. So you admit it. Harry froze, realizing he had said too much. Barbara smiled slowly. Good. That means you can't back out. Harry's breathing became heavy. He felt trapped by the trap he created. That night, he drank too much, pacing, muttering. The system must accept Cole. Barbara watched him like a predator watches a tired animal. And far away, Rita listened to Glenn's updates and whispered, He's cracking. Glenn replied, Good. A cracked man leaks truth. Harry arrived at the registry early, acting relaxed. He joked with a clerk. You people will make me old. He laughed, though his eyes were restless. Perry remained professional, guiding him to a waiting area. We'll review, Perry said. Harry leaned back and checked his watch like a man expecting applause. He didn't know today was not for him. Outside, footsteps approached, measured, official. The room shifted like air changing before rain. 2 officers entered, followed by Glenn in a dark suit, calm as paper. Harry stood abruptly. What is this? He demanded. Glenn's voice was steady. Mister, Harry called. There is a warrant regarding identity theft, fraudulent filings, and conspiracy connected to Rita Okafor. Harry scoffed loudly, trying to laugh it away. Rita is dead! Glenn nodded once. That claim is part of the case. Harry looked around, hoping for support, but faces turned cautious. Perry stepped forward, holding documents. Sir, I flagged irregularities, he said softly. Harry's eyes widened, betrayal rising. You? Perry replied. I serve the registry, not your performance. Then the doors opened again, and the room held its breath. Rita stepped in quietly, alive, steady, and not dressed for drama. She looked thinner, like survival had eaten part of her softness, but her eyes were clear. Behind her came Tracy, trembling with relief, Rosemary with solemn courage, and Perry holding his file like a shield of truth. Harry's mouth opened, but no sound came. His face drained, then filled with desperate anger. How? Rita didn't rush toward him. She didn't scream. She simply stood, letting her existence answer every lie. The room felt small around her, like truth makes space shrink. Harry tried to recover. Tears gathered quickly, practiced. Rita, I mourned you, he cried, reaching out. Rita took one step back. You performed, she said softly. The officers held out the warrant papers. Glenn's voice cut through the tension. Your filings attempted to erase Rita Okafor and convert assets to Rita Co. without lawful verification. Rosemary spoke, voice shaking but firm. I heard you say once everything switches to coal. You are free. Perry added. The signatures didn't match. The dates were aligned with her death. Tracy's tears flowed. You made us bury a living woman. Rita finally looked Harry dead in the eyes and said the line that ended him. I didn't survive to punish you. I survived because I refused to become your property. We've come to the end of the story. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Leave a like, share, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notification. Thank you so much for watching.